we will make a start with Jessica from Sky Sports News, please.
Oh.
Hi, Brendan. Good afternoon.
Hi, how are we doing?
Yeah, I'm very well. Good to see you. Any updates, firstly, on injuries or illness ahead of the game?
No, we've got the same squad available. So, like James, Madison, Ayo, Perez still not available. So they continue out. So it's the same squad.
It obviously can be very, in terms of James Maddison, can be very frustrating when a player's not able to play, particularly when they're in such good form. Have you had to give him any advice about dealing with a period out, particularly with a major tournament as well on the horizon?
Yeah, it's obviously a very frustrating time. He was in great form. He's a real catalyst for our team, and his consistency. Haven't been out early part of the season as well. His consistency's developed and been absolutely brilliant. So it's very, very frustrating time for him. But the injury he has, it's not time driven. He's obviously had an operation end of last season, and he's just got a little issue with his tendon just above that. So like I say, we're hoping he could be back sooner rather than later, but we can't put a timeline on it because it's just really going to be about how he feels and how he can recover over these next few weeks.
And just looking at another one of your players in very good form at the moment, Harvey Barnes. A lot has been written about Harvey in recent weeks, and he's really impressing this season. What impact do you feel that he's had on the team this season?
He's had a huge impact. I think, again, the things we've spoken about with Harvey and seeing his development is just on his efficiency. You know, as a wide player, was getting him into goal scoring positions, and you can see now that he arrives in there, and when he is in, he scores. So he's been absolutely brilliant for us, a young player that's gaining confidence at the level. You know, last season was his first full season in the Premier League, and now he's stepping up. Feels a real Premier League player, and I believe he's just going to continue to get better.
Being that he's only in his early 20s, is there still time for him to perhaps develop into a different position? Could he become a centre forward, as has been hinted at? No,
I don't see that. I think that if need be, he can go up there and play as in a two. But I think it's a position he can play, but his strengths are from the outside coming in. So I think he's very direct in his running. He can play in a couple of positions. There's absolutely no question. But what's his best position? His best position will be from the side, directing his running, taking people on, pressing the game from that side, and then arriving into the box. Totally different position, playing as a striker. You know, back to goal. It's one that he can do. Like I said, he done it against Liverpool when we put him up front. He played with Jamie and he sort of drifts from the left side, but his specialist position will be from the side.
And just finally, Brendan, it's possible that fans would return to the stadiums for the final game of the season. Are you in favour of that? Is that something that you'd be happy to see? It'd be great to have fans back, but some managers have flagged the point that it could give teams unfair advantage.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that there's nothing more that we want than supporters back in the stadiums. It's the huge miss for the intensity of the game, for the pressures of the game, and just from a social perspective, it'll be amazing just to have that connection again. But I'm in agreement. You know, we have our last game at home against Tottenham, and I would say, you know, we've gone through the whole season without supporters. And I think it would give an advantage to teams that would have supporters in that last game. So it's something that it's a conundrum because you want supporters back, but I think this has been a unique season, and I think for the integrity of the competition, then I believe that it should just be seen through as it's been all season for the last game, and then there's a real excitement then towards the beginning of next season.
Thanks, Brendan, and good luck.
Thanks, Jessica. Thank you.
Okay, let's go to Rebecca Coles from PLP, please.
Hi, Brendan. How are you?
Hi, Rebecca.
It's been 2 years since you were appointed Leicester City manager. If you were to sum up those 2 years in 2 words, what would they be and why?
Very enjoyable. It's as simple as that. I left a great club in Celtic to come here for the challenge of looking to establish Leicester City as a team that could compete for the top places in this division, and it's been thoroughly enjoyable. I've had amazing support from the players here since we come in, because it's always the big challenge to, first and foremost, when you come into a club, it's about convincing the players to play how you want them to, and then creating a working environment that creates a standard and a mentality to win consistently. So yeah, it's flown by, like you say, to the day. 2 years, it doesn't feel like that, but yeah, I sit here today and really happy with how we've worked, and really excited by the future of the club on and off the pitch, that we can continually develop.
And next up, you've got Arsenal. What have you made of Mikel Arteta's side so far this season?
Yeah, I think they've, like a lot of teams, they've had really good moments, and then you go through a period of inconsistency, and sometimes that aligns with availability of players. But what I know is that I think he's done very, very well. There's always an expectation and a pressure at a club like Arsenal, and especially in your first job as a manager. It's a real challenge for you, but I think Mikel's coped with that and adapted with it really, really well. An outstanding group of players, and he'll look to continue progressing them, and the longer he has there, I'm pretty sure he will do that.
And last one from me, obviously a tough result for you last night. What can we expect from Leicester City this weekend?
Sorry, repeat that.
Sorry, what can we expect from Leicester City this weekend?
Yeah, well, we will go into the game, give absolutely everything that we can. I think for us, the disappointment for us last night was that the game probably came at the wrong time for us, where the squad is at, and in terms of the injuries that we've got, we don't have the depth of squad that some of the other teams will have. So my players have done brilliant up until this point. We've had a lot of injuries this season, and but we've been able to get on with it. The games in the Europa League just came at the wrong time, but with so many key players missing for us. So that's unfortunate. But we'll learn from that, and hopefully next year arrive in European competition again and take the next step, which is what we want to do. It was our first year in the Europa League as a club. So let's see if we can improve on that. What does it mean for this weekend? We look to respond back. The game last night's in the past. We now get good recovery, and today look at the tactical idea over the next couple of days, and then we're excited by the challenge of Arsenal, and let's see if we can get a win.
Thank you very much, Brendan.
Thanks, Rebecca. Thank you.
Okay, Ian Abrahams, TalkSport, please.
Hi, Brendan. How are you?
Yes, how are we doing?
Not too bad. You wouldn't have wanted to go to Glasgow in the next round of the Europa League anyway, would you? Slavia Prague got Rangers today.
Yeah, I seen that. Listen, I'd have loved to have went back to Glasgow, great city, and it'd been a good game, but not to worry.
How do you ensure the players don't feel sorry for themselves? Don't go out on Sunday licking their wounds, just being a bit down.
They won't be. It's the environment that we've created here. It's obviously naturally be disappointed after a game, and like I said, especially losing. But no, one of the key attributes of this group is how we respond, and we don't dwell on a disappointment. I think that's shown in our results, and very quickly you have to look forward and get ready for the next game. So by the time Sunday comes, we'll be ready, we'll be focused, and and look to continue with a great season in the Premier League.
Last 2 seasons, you've had Leicester in the top 4, top 6. You haven't been out of it. Is there a change now to that established top 6? We always used to think it was, Liverpool, 2 Manchester clubs, and Chelsea, Spurs, and Arsenal. But it feels like that's maybe changed. Am I right?
Well, it just depends how you define top 6. If you're talking about top 6 in terms of financial, because that's probably what you're saying, then we don't sit in that top 6. That's for sure. But if you're talking football, then we've been in there on merit over these last couple of seasons. So it just depends what you define top 6 as. So for us, from a football perspective, we've been challenging, we've been fighting, we've been competitive. We know the challenges with some of these huge clubs and great teams. But our aim is to have a mentality that can disrupt that and be competitive against it, and that's all we've tried to be.
Well, I would call Leicester right now a top 6 club, wouldn't you? I mean, footballing wise.
Well, from a football perspective, we've shown a consistency in order to challenge that hierarchy. I think when we come in here, you could see the top 6 teams were established, and there was a gap for the other teams below that. What we've tried to do is bridge that gap and see if we can be competitive against it.
You love youth players. You love dealing with youth players. You always have throughout your career. What do you make of Bukayo Saka? I mean, he looks to be a very special talent.
Yeah, no, I love his maturity for such a young guy. He on the field, he looks a really, really bright football player. And if you're talking about your ideal footballer being mentally tough and having the intelligence to play out of different positions and different systems, he's all of that. His intelligence, I've seen him play as a left back, a left wing back, central midfield, wide on the right, as a 10. He's just a super football player who can adapt to whatever position he plays. So now he's got a massive future ahead of him. I've been really impressed by him and his game.
My last question is a very unfair one, but I know you well, so I hope you don't mind it. And I know you want both. But with one avenue for silverware closed now after last night, if I offered you right here and now the FA Cup, so you win a cup, or top 4, what would it be?
Both.
You got to choose one. You can't have both.
No, I'm greedy. I'm greedy.
Good luck on Sunday.
Thanks, miss. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I can see a couple of the daily got your hands up. We will come to you after the broadcast section. Ian Stringer for BBC Radio Leicester, please.
Hi, Brendan.
Hi, Ian.
Hi. Sorry to go back to the injury situation, but it's more for my information, really, kind of just a few injuries that we may not have spoken to you about in recent weeks. Wesley Fofana, I just wonder how he's doing. I think it was a knee problem with him, wasn't it? And how close to being back he is. Yeah,
no, he had a hamstring strain, Ian, so he's recovering really well. He's been out on the field over these last couple of days and should rejoin the training group next week. So that's great news for us.
And Dennis Pratt, also a hamstring, wasn't it? But that, well, I say that, I think it was a ligament in the hamstring or something like that. How's he?
Yeah, progressing very well. So we're hoping will, I said he's quite a way down the road in terms of his rehabilitation. So we're hoping at sometime early March he'll be able to rejoin the group. Probably at the moment looking around the sort of week beginning the 8th of March as a sort of timeline on him. But he's working really well.
That's really good news for those two players, Brendan. Ayoze Perez, are your time scales? Again, sorry to push you on them, but I'm kind of losing track. Apologies.
Yeah, no, he's again seeing how he is over the next few days. He's obviously had that strain, which, like I said, isn't. There's no real timeline on it with Ayo. We're just again waiting to see how he feels and how he reacts. So we're hoping maybe at some period next week he can get out there and join the squad.
They're going to be timely, Brendan, because it sounds like they're kind of being staggered pretty close to successive weeks. It could be, training 1 week, you've got another one back and another one back. I know that doesn't stop the treatment room getting busy with somebody else going in there, but that could be a boost.
Yeah, it'd be a huge boost. Over the course of the next week or so, Ian, I think we'll probably more or less be going with the same squad that we have. Because even though those boys coming back, they'll not be ready to come into a game situation. They'll be just rejoining the training squad. But like I said earlier, it's one of those ones where a little bit of frustration, because a few weeks ago the squad was pretty strong. Now, obviously adding to the injuries that we've had, but maybe over the next couple of weeks we're starting to get them back again, and then we can, as I said, have a good lot of them back in and available, which is what we would want.
The games are ticking down. Are we likely to see Wes Morgan this season, do you think?
I'm pretty sure we'll see him at some point. He's an ongoing issue with his back, Ian, that he's managed and coped with over the last number of years. So he's with with our medical team rehabilitating and very, very well, doing very well. So maybe again in the next couple of weeks could be rejoining the squad to train outside.
It was wonderful last night. If there was anything nice to see last night with respect to see Sydney Tavares come onto the pitch, Brendan, actually a young player that we've seen a little bit in pre-season friendlies. He looks a real talent, a very, very skillful player. How significant was it that we saw him last night in that level of game, and how does the future look for that young man?
Well, I think you can see, hopefully, my time here, it's one of the key fundamental principles for me in terms of the overall vision of what we want to do as a club, is to give as many opportunities to young players from our academy. I think that always has to be the first look, and we have some talented boys. We've seen some of them play. Sydney's another one to get that opportunity. He has great qualities. He's 6'2", got a wonderful view of the game, covers the ground well, can see a pass, nice touch. He needs to get stronger, needs to have a greater physicality to compete, but he has potential, and I always like to give young players the opportunity. So he come on, and in that 14, 15 minutes, he showed he had confidence, but he has to continue working very, very hard in order to to be in this squad. But he has big potential for me. So it was good to see him out on the field playing.
An excited player. Looking forward to hopefully seeing him in the coming seasons. Finally, from me, Brendan, you beat Arsenal earlier on this season. A Jamie Vardy goal, wasn't it? I think he came off the bench. I vividly remember him throwing his vest, his warm-up vest over his shoulder, grabbing a can of Red Bull, finishing it, scrunching it up like Popeye, coming on and scoring the winner, and may as well have just carried on down the tunnel and gone, there you go, lads, job done. An incredible performance.
So you weren't watching the game then?
Unfortunately, or fortunately for me, Brendan, I was very, very close. And at times when commentating and it's not going well, that can have its pitfalls. But on that occasion, I think Vard's very much enjoyed us screaming that one home for you. But has his service been starved a little lately? Is he getting the sort of service, the sort of deliveries that day by Genghis Under he got and that we've become accustomed to?
I think he's the type of striker that obviously relies on service. There's no doubt about that, Ian. We're looking at Vards in terms of his movement as well, and making more runs. But ultimately, he is a player that needs the service. And of course, when you have so many of, with all due respect, the players out, the guys that can serve him, then of course that makes it a little bit more difficult for him. But what I always get from Jamie is 100%. His mentality strong, and even though when he's not in the game as such, he's always ready for opportunities that come along. And you've seen in that game when he came in for the final half hour of the game, he was sensational in his movement, his speed, and he will always disrupt defenders' balance. So yeah, he hasn't quite got the service, but we've still been winning, and that's important. And it's not purely just down to Jamie to score the goals. The contribution has to come from the team.
As ever, good luck at the weekend, Brendan.
Thanks, Ian. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, everybody. We'll stop the broadcast section there. Thank you to the four of you for sticking to time restraints. That was really helpful.